This weekend, a dominant champion with a stagnant fighting style will attempt to defend his title for the 6th time, extending his resume and seeking the claim of the greatest fighter of all time. But in order to do so, he will have to take on a familiar foe, a man who has been heralded as the one to beat the last stylebender and kick him out of the sport of kickboxing, Alex Pereira. A lot of Adesanya's striking success relies on his size and the length of his limbs to allow him to jab, leg kick, and frame off of his opponents who have shorter wingspans and statures than him. That being said, Pereira and Adesanya are both billed as 6'4", with 80-inch reaches, which levels the playing field in terms of physical attributes. Adesanya's road to victory might be boring to MMA fans, but it's certainly the most surefire option in this matchup. Adesanya has the speed and footwork advantage on Pereira, especially while in the orthodox stance. This was seen in their second fight and in moments of their first fight. Adesanya could chew up Pereira's legs with his near-patented leg kicks, but he needs to set them up with punches, as throwing naked leg kicks like he usually does might get him countered due to Pereira having the same reach as him, especially if Izzy throws a kick at him in the southpaw stance, as we see people getting punished and throwing naked kicks in the open stance constantly. In Pereira's fight with Bruno Silva, Silva was able to pump his hands, make Pereira move backwards, and leg kick a retreating Poatan. Pereira has shown a lack of defense for leg kicks for the most part, not checking nearly as many leg kicks as he absorbs. If not for anything but scoring points, this staple in Izzy's repertoire will be important in winning this fight. Just because Izzy's length is neutralized doesn't mean that he isn't able to still control distance tremendously. I believe that as long as he stays in the orthodox stance, he should be able to control distance relatively easily, and from there, continue to use his head movement and footwork to dodge Pereira's offensive offerings. I think that Izzy has to rely more on his jab in this fight than he has had to in his other fights, given that a consistent jab would lower the chances of Izzy getting caught with a horrifying left hook. Izzy can establish the jab early and implement his famous jab feints in order to keep Pereira guessing, draw out counters from Pereira, and counter him while he's out of position. Adesanya can also use the front kick before throwing the question mark kick to catch Pereira on the head. Adesanya should focus on hitting the body more than usual as well to pull on Poatan's gas tank and decrease the amount of power Alex can carry across 5 rounds. While I don't put much stock into how much Izzy had Alex hurt in their second fight due to how late notice the fight was for Alex, with him taking the fight on less than 2 weeks' notice, there is one big difference that would bolster the belief that Izzy would win this fight in MMA. If Izzy hurts Pereira, there is no referee to separate the fight to give Pereira an 8 count, as well as the rule sets between the sports not protecting a hurt fighter who might clinch to save themselves, and the gloves in MMA being smaller. The smaller gloves affected defensive capabilities for Pereira, who hid behind the bigger gloves, absorbing punches on them. But in MMA, he won't be able to do so, given that MMA gloves are 4 ounces, as opposed to the 12-ounce kickboxing gloves, allowing for less room for error when blocking strikes. Adesanya, on the other hand, rarely relied on the bigger gloves to avoid big strikes, rather relying on defensive footwork and head movement to avoid getting stunned. As long as Adesanya keeps the orthodox distance and doesn't get involved in a brawl, he should have a path to a clear-cut decision win. But Adesanya's ego might be bruised off the back of Twitter slander due to his boring performances and the fact that Pereira holds a win by knockout over him. This might lead to him being uncharacteristically offensive and offer big swings in striking. We have seen him deal with guys in MMA who relied on hooks as their power punches to cut the cage or hurt him, and he ended up countering and putting out pretty much all of them. Alex Pereira's ridiculous power and relatively good chin allows him to paint over the mistakes he made in the first 24 minutes of a fight with a single punch. That left hook for Pereira does wonders, but he doesn't have many setups for it, such as hooking off the jab, but instead throws it as a lead or finds opportunities to use it as a devastating counter. One opening that Izzy can give him is if Alex advances on him while Izzy is in the southpaw stance. In his fights, Pereira rarely loses the outside foot battle, and has a good ability to angle and step his way into winning the outside foot. At the same time, Izzy has also shown holes in his defensive footwork when it comes to the open stance, forfeiting the outside foot many times. In those instances, Pereira can really unload on his hooks and catch Izzy clean, like he did to leave Adesanya frozen like Elsa in their second fight. Old habits die hard, and Izzy will probably try to frame off on Pereira, or attempt a cross hand check or hand fight against him, reaching at Alex's hands as he has in the second fight. These moments could allow Pereira to counter with a straight or overhand over the top, and hit Israel clean while his hands are away from his guard. Izzy's head movement will always give anyone fits, but as wiser men have pointed out, the head moves in ways the body can't. Pereira should take a page out of Ray Longo's book and punch a hole through his chest, targeting the body. Pereira did so to great effect in their second fight, and more recently in his fight against Strickland. Kill the body and the head will follow. Leg kicks are a double-sided sword against Izzy. You can either die to them or use them against the style bender, as previous opponents who briefly stumbled onto the idea of kicking Izzy's legs have exposed a hole in Adesanya's ability to defend against them. I believe that the fight will play out largely in the manner that I outlined in Adesanya's section of this video, but if Pereira catches Izzy, it will be because Izzy got caught lunging in while in the southpaw position, giving up the outside foot, and being sent into the land of wind and ghost by that left hook.